My sister asked me if I was sure I was really a lesbian because I really like the penis. She asked me this when I was coming out to her. This was like in 2022. And, it's a fair question because I'd only been with dudes, and, she was, I think, kind of caught off guard, and, and I'd been, and I'd been open to her about, talking about sex with men and how I could achieve the big O with guys, not all the time, but some of the time. And it's a fair question, right? And it kind of stopped me, and I had to get my head around, well, that is kind of confusing. And actually that was how I defined, what I thought was bisexuality. The fact that I knew I liked women, but that I could also have, an orgasm with a guy. And that was kind of the end of my definition, not anything deeper than that. But when she asked me that, I had to kind of dig a little deeper than I had up until that point. And it just kind of one question led to another, and think, well, do I really like the penis, or do I just like the sensation? And, do orgasms equal attraction? And, a lot of stuff that I never considered before because I wasn't ready to face my own sexuality. And there's so many layers to our body's physiology and the different types of attraction, and compulsory heterosexuality is turned into that. There's just so many fucking layers. Everybody has their own coming out journey that they need to walk for themselves. And for me, a lot of it was understanding, how is it that I could occasionally have orgasm with a dude and still be a lesbian, not even bisexual. Because part of that was me realizing that I'd been misidentifying for 30 years. And it's not that, we need to always label and classify and, put ourselves into a box. We don't have to, but what is important is that we understand. However we come to that understanding is the best way for each of us. We all do it differently. And when this was happening to me, I spent a shit ton of time journaling. Research is limited on this subject. It comes down to understanding yourself and making things make sense for you. They don't have to make sense for everybody else, but they have to make sense for you. And that's why I needed to answer these questions, not for my sister, but for me. That was the most important thing. And this is all coming back up for me now because I'm in the middle of writing my manuscript for my second book, and this is all stuff that I'm covering, and it's I know I've talked about this in the past, but I know it's still relevant. I know there's people out there who are on this journey where I was, what I learned, the answer to the question is no, I don't like the penis. I like the sensation that it provided because my body is hardwired to enjoy that type of a sensation, or that is created when that, whatever. It wasn't specifically the penis because that is replaceable for sure, replicable through any means of different objects, accoutrement, whatever, but separating the two and realizing that for me, the big O had nothing to do with the actual thing, simply my body's response to stimulus. It can be confusing, especially later in life. So if you're on this journey, if you are someone who is questioning like I was several years ago, don't be afraid of the hard questions, but answer them for yourself, not the other person. And, my sister and I are still very close. She's been, stop pulling me. She was great and still is. And sometimes having somebody ask us the hard questions is what we need. We need to find those difficult answers to those difficult questions for ourselves. Because as we answer those questions for us, not for anybody else, that's how we get closer to finding who we really are. Wherever you are on your journey, keep going. Love you, bye.